everyone, good evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Darrell Winninger from the Central Oregon Daily Weather Center, and across the high desert today, not just unseasonably hot, but record-breaking heat through parts of the Tri-County area. All of that under tons of sunshine, and we have one more round of heat before a big change up in our weather pattern. So we're about to take a deep dive into your most reliable forecast, look at what's been happening, what's going to happen, the changes that are really going to impact us through the next couple of days. So we're going to take several minutes to do this. Buckle up, it's going to be fun. When we look outside right here, right now, across Central Oregon, we do have tons of sunshine, a little bit of haze, not much in the way of cloud cover, and so that means unmitigated direct sunshine for most of the high desert, unless you can find yourself under a shade tree or on a patio with some kind of sail or something like that. It was just very high UV index, and we're going to keep that until we see this huge shift in our weather pattern. So for tonight, it's going to be mild, very little cloud cover expected, and winds coming down to a gentle breeze. But let's talk about some of these temperatures that we had across Central Oregon today. This is for today, Monday, June the 9th, and we got up to 97 in Bend, 98 in Redmond, 98 in Madras. Those three red temperatures, that's where we had our record-breaking heat. And across the entire high desert, we had very low humidity, but through the next few days, it won't be as hot. However, temperatures will be coming down after one more round of heat. Now, this weekend, I cannot go much further without mentioning this. This weekend, there was a pretty big fire up on the reservation in Warm Springs, and it's been called the Sunnyside Fire. And the last checkup, they had just completed some mapping around noon today and shared that mapping with us, and that was 798 acres. You could see where Senasho is, you could see where Warm Springs is, and even Gateway, and it was right on the Jefferson County, Wasco County line in the Warm Springs Reservation. There's still a level 1 be-ready evacuation for Webster Flat and Wolf Point. The attack was initialized Saturday at just afternoon, just before 1 p.m., and fire crews were working really hard. They had a lot of great video and everything coming from that, but again, there is still a level 1 be-ready evacuation. It's just not showing up on this map. These are your locations for that. So if you're in the area or have interest in the area, keep that in mind. Even with that fire, we have good air quality across the high desert. There is some moderate air quality from the hourly average on the other side of the Cascades coming right up to the PCT, but for the Tri-County area, even our real-time sensors are showing good air quality. Now, satellite and radar, there isn't much happening over the Tri-County area, but when we move the camera south, we're seeing scattered or very isolated showers, with a few of those that are producing a little bit of lightning. That's for South Central Oregon, even going all the way over to Medford. It looks like there is one thunderstorm just south of Medford that's going into that general area. So that's something to keep an eye on. But for the Tri-Counties, we don't have much at all that we're worrying about. Even this shower and some thunderstorm activity south of Central Oregon isn't bringing much of a chance of it coming into our neck of the woods. So as we go forward through the next couple of days, we are going to be tracking that, because there is a chance for some of that here through tomorrow. And that's going to be, sorry, I'm looking at another computer just to see if there's anything else that we need to be talking about. But here, through the last couple of hours, we've definitely seen some of that convection south of the Oregon state line, and that is going to fizzle out before it makes it our way. But by tomorrow, a similar setup getting a little further north, and that is going to bring us a chance of some thunderstorms for the Tri-County area. Even for South Central Oregon, we're looking at a marginal risk of severe weather in that hashed out area that you see, that green area. And going forward through the day, it's going to start off mild and sunny, and then by the midday hours we start to see clouds. Then after that is that chance of thunderstorm activity. So let's go ahead and look at a forecast model, and I'm going to back this out a little bit so we can see a little bit more than the Tri-County area, because that's where it's really going to be impacting us, is the South Central Oregon. And so it starts at about noon, and that's when we start to see some convective showers pop up. At this point, it looks like a couple cells are going to be capable of producing lightning, but watch what happens through the rest of the afternoon and the evening. We get a flare-up. That flare-up is going to bring us our chance of thunderstorms through Central Oregon, and that continues into the evening. But we're not done there. It also continues through the overnight hours, where we have that chance of some showers, maybe some lightning strikes. And notice it's for the southern half of our Tri-County area, really the southern half of the state on our side of the Cascades. And then by Wednesday, we get clearing through the day, and that's when we're going to start to see a bigger drop in temperature. So today, highs today have been mostly in the 90s with 89 in Sun River and 102 in Warm Springs. And currently, it's still 102 in Warm Springs, but we have a lot of 90s on the map with 86 in Sun River. We just looked at those record high temperatures that were set here today, but look at this. In the last 24 hours, temperatures are running between 1 degree cooler and 3 degrees warmer than it was this time yesterday. What that means is temperatures are starting to fall because of a very weak front that was pushing through. That front didn't trigger any precipitation, but it did bring a slight dip in temperatures for tomorrow. So instead of looking at mid to upper 90s, we're looking at lower to mid 90s with some 80s through the day on Tuesday. But tonight it's just going to be super mild with a warm evening expected for us. And our UV forecast for tomorrow is going to be very high once again. Now there's a chance of some afternoon thunderstorm activity. We already talked about that. We already talked about how highs are still going to be in the 90s. By Wednesday, that UV intensity forecast bumps up a little bit. By Thursday, it dips down into the high range. Not a huge drop, but just enough to change some of those tips. And tips when it comes to very high UV intensity forecasts, sunglasses and sunscreen if you're going to be spending a lot of time outside, whether you're in agriculture, you're just going out to have fun, use that sunscreen, reapply it every 2 hours. You might even need a hat or protective clothing if you have sensitive skin. When in doubt, seek the shade and make sure you're staying hydrated through the next couple of days, especially with this extreme heat, the direct sunshine. By tomorrow afternoon, though, we do have that chance of thunderstorm activity. Highs, once again, in the 90s with some 80s. Afternoon winds will be breezy. If you find yourself in the vicinity of one of those thunderstorms, stronger winds are expected. By Wednesday, we get our clearing, highs in the 80s, so that represents already a significant dip in temperatures, but still well above that average high for this time of the year. And then by Thursday, we're finally getting back to near average for this time of the year, in the 70s, and it's still extremely dry. So through the next 5 days, we notice this big dip in temperatures where we're dropping between 15 and 20 degrees here just in the next few days. Add in today, and that's 20 to 25 degrees cooler by this time on Thursday. And then we get a little below average before temperatures start rebounding as we wrap up the work week and go into the weekend. Meanwhile, when we look at our forecast model, we do have that weak front that's been pushing through the Pacific Northwest. Again, no precipitation at all. Breezy afternoon winds, but that's to be expected this time of the year. Tonight, some in and out clouds are expected. Tomorrow afternoon, scattered showers, some thunderstorms across the southern half of the state on our side of the Cascades. That includes a good chunk of the Tri-County area, and then we get our clearing Wednesday. By the time we hit Thursday, we're going to be mostly sunny to partly cloudy. So ultimately, we are going to see a lot of things change here through the next 7 days, and some of those changes include a dip in temperatures, but they also include some showers through Central Oregon. So for the next couple of days, afternoon winds are going to be gusty, especially if you find yourself around one of those thunderstorms. But actual wind speeds, not too strong. It's just those gusts that are really high. Now for tonight, 50s and a few 60s. By tomorrow, we're talking 90s and some 80s with a chance of afternoon thunderstorm activity. And our 7-day planner shows that once we get through this active weather pattern, we're back to near average for this time of the year through several days, but we're keeping it extremely dry across the high desert. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and news and your most reliable forecast. See you then.